Okay. Can you all hear me in class and also anyone online? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. My name is Hiren Trada. I am a electrical engineering professor. I've been here since September 2018, but not for the last 22 months. I'm here on a visa. I arrived in the US as a graduate student in August of 2000. Been on a student visa, researcher scientist visa, and now on a work visa. So the last 20 months, I was out of the country because there was a huge backlog of processing. So I just arrived in the country. I will return back in the country on the 30th, 1 o'clock in the morning. Kind of jet lagged, living out of my suitcases in a motel room, hence the t-shirt and my clothes, because my apartment's not yet ready. Anyway, let's jump into the class and we'll start with the syllabus. So I see several students have already been on the website. Now, this course website is a lot to take in. There's a ton of information in here. There are specific reasons for every single page that is there on the syllabus as well as on the course website. And I will go over the most important ones on the first day of class. And so that's what you're going to do now. So this page, if you open it up on your mobile apps on a smartphone or a tablet, will not appear. You'd have to go into announcements, and there's a link right there which says front page link for all mobile devices and easy access, and you'd be able to access the front page from that way. Everything else will work just fine on the app except for this front page. Now, this is a merged shell because I'm teaching 3 sections of 201. You are in section 02. This is 9 o'clock. Section 3 is at 10 a.m. and section 4 is at 11 a.m. So since this is a merged shell, just the way the canvas is set up by the instructor company, all you will see is 20102. Okay. For you guys, it doesn't matter because you're already in section 02. But if you were, let's say, in 03 or 04, you would still see just 02. So no need to be worried about that. All right. There are some direct links to the most important stuff on the front page. Syllabus is right here. It's the same link that you see on the left, which is here in the left pane. All right, class schedule, course information. So let's start with the first page of the syllabus. Let me move this. One other downside is that the technology in this classroom is a little bit different, just slightly different than what I've been used to. I used to teach right next door 125 and in graphic arts. And what I do is I use a writing tablet along with the projection. And so there is a problem with the display setups in this classroom. And I haven't had time to actually get everything done because everyone was on a break. Everybody's just returning this Monday. So I'm gonna call them and get it taken care of. All right, syllabus. First page, meet your instructor, communication, office hours. Let's start right there. So the easiest way to contact me is through Canvas. You send a message through Canvas. It automatically pings my phone, my desktop, my laptop, all the devices that I've logged into, and I'd be able to answer your concerns or any questions promptly. If you do use email, my email is htrada@calpoly.edu. Again, I'm very prompt in responding to emails. Unless I'm teaching in class or in a lab or in meetings, I'd always be able to answer my emails. The thing you need to take care or ensure about emails is that you need to use your Cal Poly IDs. Okay, if you use a personal ID like at Gmail, at Yahoo, at Hotmail, sometimes Cal Poly's spam filtering will send it to spam, and we won't know about it. Even if you have sent an email to a professor previously from your personal account, sometimes if you have an attachment or there's a different word in there, the filtering gets triggered and your email might get set to spam. So always use your Cal Poly IDs. Second most important reason is because we cannot divulge personal information about you. Otherwise, anyone could take your first name and last name, create a private account, and said, "Hey, professor, what are my grades in this?" Or any personal information about you could be leaked, right? So you don't want that. So if you ask me something, if you ask me a generic question, I might be able to reply to your personal email. But if you ask me any personal information, then I would not be able to divulge unless you send it through your Cal Poly email. And that is true for all professors, not just me, right? Make sense? Okay, my office hours are listed right here. I'm generally in my office, all day, every day from 8 to 5, 8 to 5:30. Mondays and Wednesdays, I teach until 6 p.m. So I'll be in the lab room. I'll still be able to answer your questions. If you send me an email, if you want to stop by during the lab times, it's fine. If I have the time, I'd definitely, help out students. Let's see, what else? Oh, the olive green lines that you see here, I'm available in the office, but I may be in another lab, I may be in a meeting. I am available to meet students. So if you want to stop by, just send me an email first saying, hey, I might stop by at like 11:30 and just confirm whether I'm going to be in the office or not. So I'm available outside of office hours also. The office hours listed on here simply guarantee my availability in the office, meaning I would not go anywhere, right? I will be in the office during the office hours, but these right here, I will still be in the office and available to students. My office is in building 20, room 131. Does anyone know where that is? It's a building that's in the shape of an E. And some of our professors used to say that it was the geographic center of the Cal Poly campus. It's right here, Engineering East. Electrical engineering. We are right here in agriculture building. It's right across. So my office is in this corner right here. So it's a big lab room, 131. And I've been transitioning to a different office space, 117, and I will let you know when that happens. But for now, I am in room 131. So it's very easy to find me. All right, let's see. Course information. First half of this course deals with DC circuits, so DC setup measurements, theoretical analysis, how to calculate currents, voltages, some of the stuff you have already done in the physics classes, right? Physics 133, which is the prereq. So you would have learned about resistors, a little bit of capacitors and inductors. We'll go over some of those concepts, and we will dive a little bit deeper than what you did in the physics classes. And the second half of this course deals with AC analysis. So AC, which is alternating current, again, I'll introduce the topic and we'll talk about it, but you may be familiar with some of the concepts already. And then as we go along, the first half of the class might feel a little rushed because, again, it's a recap of the concepts that you've already learned in physics, right? Class meets in person every Monday, Wednesday, Friday in this classroom from 9 to 10. It is also broadcast live on Zoom. You have the option. Students are free to choose whether you want to take it in person or you want to take it online. You do not have to notify me. You do not have to take my permission, right? If you are sick, stay home, stay isolated. Doesn't matter what you have, but I assure you, none of us here want it, right? If I'm sick, I'll let you know in advance. Sometimes my humor would just fly over. Anyway, if you're sick, you wake up in the morning, obviously you can't let me know in advance, right? So you just stay home, you attend the class online. If you're not well enough to attend online, the lectures are recorded and will be posted on YouTube. It's a private channel, so it's not, you'll have the link, which is already there in the course website on Canvas, and you'd be able to learn it from there. Attendance, I don't take attendance, all right? You're all adults, you are in charge of your own education. You attend class, you don't attend class, doesn't matter to me, right? I'm not the attendance police. I'm not the homework police. Again, you are responsible adults. You choose the way you want to learn. You want to come to class in person? Great. You want to learn online, live online? That's also great. If you don't want to come to class, you don't want to learn online, but you want to just learn from the recorded videos, that is also fine. If you don't want to do any of that, that is also fine. As long as you accomplish the work that is set before you, which is the homework and the quizzes and the final exam, that's all I care about. Okay. What I care about is that you learn, right? You come to class, you learn from me. But if you feel that my methods or my course structure is not for you, you want to learn on yourself, that's also fine. I'm not offended by that, right? Sometimes students would say, hey, I learned this from this video or online. As long as it's a verified source and I know that it's accurate, it's correct, I'm absolutely fine with that. Okay, so again, I don't take attendance. Students are free to choose how they want to attend class, how they want to learn. You can also, let's say if it's 9 o'clock in the morning and you don't feel like coming in Monday morning, if you want to attend class 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, online or in person, that is also fine. If you want to attend class in person at a different time, which is like 10 or 11, because of physical seating, there are some limitations, but I don't foresee that being a problem. I think I see plenty of empty seats. There should be enough seats to go around if you want to come at 10 or 11 o'clock. The material is mostly the same. Sometimes there are some differences in examples, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. Sounds good? All right. So again, you are free to choose how you want to attend. All right. Oh. I see I made a mistake right there. Never change the screen sharing. All right, class notebook. So all material is delivered via OneNote. What I do is, if you haven't already signed up, you can sign up through the OneNote link on the left, which is right here in class notebook. If you open class notebook, it's going to take you, well, I don't want to sign in here, but it's going to take you to a page where you can just simply click, link your account, and open up the class notebook in Microsoft's OneNote. By the way, how many of you have used OneNote before? Quite a few of you. That's good. It's a very powerful piece of software. It's free. It's amazing to keep track of everything of every class that you do. Multiple sections, multiple pages, section groups, everything. So what happens is I've already uploaded the slides on OneNote. I take those slides, I open it up in my tablet here, and I annotate on there. So you'd be able to see it here in person as well as online in Zoom. Okay. As I said, there are some hitches right now with the technology, so the drivers are not installed, and I can't do the separate displays. But for today, it's fine. All right, lecture videos are all recorded and posted here. Section 2, 3, and 4, all three of them are separate videos, but pretty much they'll be the same. All right, course goals and learning outcomes outlined on the first day of class. This course will give the non-EE student, which all of you are non-EE students, an understanding of the fundamental principles of electrical engineering and aid in their preparation for the fundamentals of engineering examination. So if you want to become a licensed professional engineer, PE, the first step is to pass the fundamentals of engineering examination. And this E201 is part of that fundamentals of engineering examination. So what we teach here, the major topics that you see in here, listed here, it's not chosen by us. It's not chosen by the EE department. It is chosen by your departments. Your departments tell us what they want you to learn. Okay, so the syllabus and everything is all done by the departments coming together. All right, let's go into assignments and grading. Oh, actually, before that, let's go to access code purchase. Did everyone receive my message about not buying the textbook? Okay. All right, so what I do is I use Pearson's Mastering Engineering for this course. Okay, there is an extra cost involved. Usually their codes are for 65. I negotiated a lower price. I think it's closer to 50 or 52 now. I don't know if any one of you have gone online and signed up. Has anyone seen the price on there? Is it 52? Okay, thank you. Now, that's first thing, when I was a student and I encountered a professor who said, hey, you have to pay extra money to buy this just for the homework, 10% homework. And I was like, it's too much of a burden. I understand that. However, I believe that the way I've structured the course, it provides a better learning experience. It provides a much better learning experience than simply using it for homework. Okay, this is a multimodal, multi-level course. When I say multi-level, I built in tutorials. There are tutorials for the problems and the concepts that you learn. So you will learn theory and the background in class. Then there are video solutions that I've incorporated in the Mastering Engineering website. There are problems and homework that you do on the Mastering Engineering website. Some of you have probably used Mastering Engineering before. And what I do is I set homework as a massive chunk of your grade. It's set at 40%. To the best of my knowledge, I've never seen any other professor set it more than 10 or 20%. Okay. So the access code, again, it costs money, but it provides a much better learning experience, in my opinion. And it's not just my opinion. Over the years, when I've used this, students have sent feedback to me that, hey, it was an extra cost involved, but it was worth it. And that's always the feedback that I've received. Okay. So if you have any issues with this, you send me an email, you get in touch with me, and then we'll work it out. But for now, not for now, for this quarter, if you're taking my class, then an access code purchase is required. There is a 14-day free trial available to all students. So if you want to try it out for a week, by the end of this week, you need to decide whether you want to stay in this class or you want to, go with someone else. Let's see. Oh, and there's a liberal scattering of extra credit problems throughout the homework, right? So you can do basic fundamentals, you can do the normal problems or the learning work that we do in the class, and there's also an advanced level. So advanced level, as well as the, I wouldn't say remedial, but the tutorials for the past materials, they're all extra credit. So advanced level topics are basically something that I would not be able to cover in class just because of, time limitations. So students can do that on their own. If you wish to delve into the subject further, you will get extra credit. Extra credit is not discounted. It'll all count towards your final grade, meaning your overall score can go above 100% for the entire quarter. And I will explain more here. So course grade is split in 3 parts. There's homework, there's quizzes, and there's final exam. Homework is 40%, quizzes 40%, and the final exam is 20%, rounding up to 100. Nothing is optional, everything is mandatory. There is a curve that is built into it because of the extra credit that I have in the homework, the extra credit that I have built into the course structure. Okay. I have no problem giving everybody an A if you've earned it. Okay. So I'm not one of those professors who say, okay, I'll only give 5 students an A, only the top 5 or the top 6 students an A. If every one of you on an A, every one of you will get an A. So you get what you earn. Homework is split into 2 further parts. One is Mastering Engineering, which you see on Pearson. Right, you can go over, and I'll go over some of the important points in here, and then scan and upload on Canvas, which is basically another 10%. Now, why like this is because there are solutions floating around on the internet. You're aware that your students can have access to those. So if you just do mastering, it's simply entering the numbers, right? Now, students usually don't do that. They want to learn. So I know that. But what I also want in advance is that if you are doing a normal homework, you would work on a pen and paper or tablet and stylus, right? And then you would turn in that work to be graded. So you would do that with the Pearson's homework too. You would take either a tablet and stylus or your pen and paper. You would write out your work. You would show that you're doing the work. Then when you get the final answer, you would enter in Pearson's website, Mastering Engineering. Then you will scan the work that you have done and you upload it on Canvas. So the scanned uploads will count for 10% of your overall grade. The Pearson homework counts for 30%. 30 plus 10 is 40%. Okay, so 40% of your grade comes from homework. Late homework is accepted. So Pearson is integrated into Canvas. The deadlines will show up on your Canvas calendar. If you want full credit, you submit your homework by the deadline. If you are late, that is fine. The system is built. I have built the system to accept late homework. But every day that you're late in submitting the homework, 10% will be deducted, right? So if you submit it before the deadline, 100% of what you earn, otherwise 10% is deducted. Every homework problem has 30 attempts. I said the maximum limit. Okay, so everything is geared towards the student's benefit. It's not just about giving students freebies. It's about rewarding the work. So if you do the work, you get rewarded, you earn your points, right? And that's what it is. So all mastering problems have 30 attempts. That's the max limit. I have set it to the max limit, just 30 attempts. For the most part, if you enter it incorrectly 10 times, you're not going to go further. Just get in touch with me and I'll let you know what the issue might be. Okay. So every attempt will cost you 3% for that problem. That is all done automatically by the system. I don't have any control over that. I simply set the limits. So sometimes the system points kind of weird. I've still not managed to figure out how it calculates it. But again, every day that you're late, 10% deduction, 30 attempts for every single question. Every attempt will cost you 3%. So even if you get it right at the end, by the 30th attempt, you still get 10% of that on credit. Plus, if you do the extra credit problems, let's say there's a homework there's a homework worth 20 points and you lose 2 points in one of the problems. But if you do the extra credit problem, you might be able to make up 1 or 2 points right there. Any questions? Okay. All right. Deadlines. Homework times can vary 10 minutes to 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or even longer. Do not wait until the last minute to begin the homework assignment. Okay. Deadlines and expiration dates are part and parcel of your life. If a homework takes 30 minutes to be completed, I'm not going to set the time as like, a class is from 9 to 10, turn in your homework by 11 a.m. That doesn't work that way, right? Because you have other classes, you have work commitments. You might just want to go back to your, residence and just chill out for a bit. Sometimes there's system maintenance going on. Sometimes internet might be out. So I built all of that into the time limit that we set. So if you start your assignment at 11:30 at night and the homework cuts you off at like 12 midnight. Oh, by the way, all of my homework assignments are set to deadline of midnight on the date that is listed. Okay, so it's midnight Pacific Standard Time. If the system shows you otherwise, you let me know. Sometimes there are glitches, but it's set to expire. The deadlines are always midnight on the date that is listed as the due date. So if you begin a homework 11:30, sometimes the system goes into maintenance at 11:30 and will not be able to complete in time. So do not wait until the last minute. If 3 days are given for the homework, the 3 days account for system maintenance, internet outages, your work schedules, your relaxation schedules, everything. All right, let's see. That's the homework assignments. Quizzes. There's a weekly quiz every Monday. We are on a Monday. How many of you feel like taking a quiz today? Pop quiz. I used to do pop quizzes, nothing too strenuous. Anyway, quizzes category on the Canvas includes all weekly quizzes that you take on Monday mornings, includes all surveys. There are some freebies on there, self-assessments and discussions that are posted on Canvas. Everything is combined into one single total. Oh, homework too. Homework in mastering is combined into one single points total. All right, so quizzes would be similar to exams that you take, like the midterms. But there are no midterms in my classes. So it's just broken down into manageable chunks. So every week you do a quiz, which would be about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, but not longer than that. Okay. And you do that every week. And so depending on how the class goes, it might end up having anywhere between 7 to 9 quizzes. So we'll start with the first quiz next Monday, all the way to the last week of class. Okay. Now, quizzes you can take in person, or if you're attending class online, you can take it online too. But there are certain rules to taking it online. You'd have to turn your camera on, focus it on the work that you're doing. So proctoring purposes, it's not going to be recorded. And then you just scan and upload. Scan and upload goes for everybody in class. So let's say we have a quiz next Monday, which is 15 minutes. The quiz will go on from 9:10 to 9:25. 15-minute quiz, and then you'd have 5 minutes. You stop working at 9:25, and then you scan your documents and you upload them on Canvas, in person as well as online. So if you're taking it in person right now, all of you are in person right now, you would still take the 5 minutes after the quiz is over, you'd scan, and you'd upload on Canvas. Make sense? All right, so let's see, document rules, online quizzes, I'll leave that for you to read. Final exam is already on the website. You can go ahead and read that at your time and let me know if you have any questions. Again, all assignments in this class are mandatory. Nothing is optional. Meaning is optional. If you don't want to take it, you don't take it, but you just don't get credit for that. So at the end of the quarter, let's say you end up with, before taking the final, you end up with a total of, let's say 80% or 82%, let's say, and you don't feel like taking the final, that's fine. If you don't take it, that's fine. You would end up with the grade that you have earned so far. So if you have an 82% at the end, it's a B minus, you earn a B minus. Final exam is worth 20%. Does that make sense, or am I confusing you? Okay. So again, I simply assess everything that has been turned in, and you get what you earn. The contents, equation sheet, prep, everything is already on there. Again, you can, yes. Yes. But again, the final exam counts for 20% of your overall grade. So if 100% is an A and a student chooses not to take the final, you're automatically down to 80%. Does that make sense? That's what I was trying to explain. So it might get confusing the first time you hear it, but so you'd automatically drop down to 80% because you haven't done that final. So there's 20% that is lost. Yes. Yeah. So again, everything is mandatory. Nothing is optional, but optional in the sense that, hey, I don't want to do homework number 17. That's fine. If you think you can make up those lost points using some extra credit, that's fine. All right, let's see. Final exam schedule is on there. There are multiple options. Again, finals are all the same, but you can choose to take any one of these options. Final exam, total, instructor evaluation. So evaluations are very important to us. It's usually the end of the quarter. Official evaluations, you have done this, all of you are juniors and seniors, so you're familiar with those. They're completely anonymous. The only thing that we see is, hey, there are 38 students in the class and 20 students submitted the evaluations. That's all we get to see. Okay, it's completely anonymous. And we don't even get those back until the first week of the next quarter. Meaning, once you are done, spring break, and then the first week of the spring quarter is when we get your evaluations back to us. Okay, that's how it works. So what I do is, since that is a little bit of extra work, I award students extra credit. Okay. So 38 students in this class, if all 38 of you submit an evaluation, the responses I see on there, it's like 38 of 38, 100% response rate. If it's 100% response rate, every student in the class gets 1% towards your actual grade. Meaning if you were stuck at, like, not stuck, but if you earned 89% at the end of the quarter, that 1% would take you up to 90. So from B plus to an A minus. Okay. If 50% of the students, like 19 of 38, that's 50% response rate, every student in the class would get 0.5. Again, we have no way of knowing how well. I have no way of knowing which students have submitted. The only thing I see is the number of students. Okay, so every student earns that credit, whether you submit an evaluation or not. Okay, so there is nothing forced about this. It's just a little bit extra. And so I award extra credit. There are unofficial evaluations that I implemented in the last year or so. Let's see if I can find those. Let's go into assignments. It basically is a Google form, and you can submit it directly from inside Canvas. So these are the exact same questions that are there in the official evaluations, right? You simply select the course that you're in, the week that you are submitting this evaluation for, and then you just answer, scale 1 through 5, the same standard scale that, that the official CalPoly evaluations are. So this is a weekly evaluation. There's a deadline, kind of like a moving deadline of Saturday midnight, meaning you would attend class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday you would just evaluate, how you learned in class, what you feel about the course structure, what you feel about me. You can write "he sucks" on there, but let me know why I suck. So then I can do a course correction in real time. If something isn't working for you, you can provide feedback on here. Again, this is a Google form. It's completely anonymous. You can send a link to your friend who's in New York, and they could fill it out too, right? So it's completely anonymous. There's no information that is collected. If you have ever used an online Google form before, you would know that all it is you're just submitting responses, and the responses are sent to me. So think of this as a middleman, ombudsman. An ombudsman is somebody who acts as a middleman between two parties, right? So Google Form is right there. You let the form know what is working for you and what's not working for you. And then I would take those responses from the form and I can do a course correction. Comments, suggestions are right at the bottom. And then again, just standard questions that is there in the official evaluation forms. So there are extra credit built in for this too. So these unofficial evaluations are 9 weeks, right? We start at week 1, we go all the way up to week 9. After week 9, week 10 is when you fill out your official evaluations. So we just do 9 of these. I would total all of the responses I receive at the end, average it out. And again, depending on the responses that I receive, you will receive, every student in the class will receive extra credit up to a max of 2%. So 38 times 9, average it out, depending on how many responses I receive. Let's say if it's 50%, every student will get 1% towards your overall grade. So again, max of 2% for the unofficial ones, just because there are a lot of them, and then 1% max for the official evaluations. So there's 3% extra grade. 3% extra credit applied directly to your overall grade. So the more students who participate, the more everybody wins. Sounds good? All right. Let's see, assignments. We are at 9:47. Attendance, participation, late work. Again, every class meeting is recorded, only the shared screen, no faces or names. They're posted online for asynchronous learning. Zoom option is available to all students. You do not have to notify me. You do not have to ask my permission. Okay. Oh, one other thing. I mean, you can walk in and out of class anytime you want. So if you woke up late and it's already 9:30 and you're hesitant to come, I would say do not hesitate. Just come on in. Okay. We are not in high school. You're not in elementary school. You do not have to take my permission. If you're feeling sleepy, you want to go to sleep, you can walk out. It's fine. It doesn't offend me. Okay. You can come in anytime. You can leave anytime. If you want to eat and drink, it's fine. If you're eating some chips, throw some my way. I always get hungry. But no, there are the food and drink requirements. I mean, sorry, the food and drink rules are set by Cal Poly. Okay. Drink is a no-no around electrical stuff, which I'm flouting right now. This shouldn't be on the table. Simple reason, because water will short circuit everything electronic. Okay. If a drop of water goes in the wrong place in an electronic circuit, it's done forever. So you do not want any liquids around your expensive electronic devices. You want to keep them on the floor. Food, again, as long as you're not disturbing the class, it's fine. You can eat, you can drink, it's fine. I sorry, probably shouldn't be recording that. But again, as I said, there are classroom rules that are set by Cal Poly. You can eat and drink, just don't leave a mess. First week participation activity. A first homework is due on Friday. Is because the first week students are still trying to decide whether they want to continue with the class, or some of you might drop out. So if you do decide to drop out, it is your responsibility to do so. I will not drop students. I do not drop students. Again, as I said, I do not take attendance. I do not drop students. If you forget to drop this class, you will end up with an F in a class that you did not attend for the rest of the quarter. So again, if you do decide to drop out, it is your responsibility to unenroll from this class. Late work is accepted, as I said, but late quizzes and late exams are not permitted except for a valid reason, which is again governed by Cal Poly's academic policies. Okay. So I've had students in the past, whether due to family emergencies, accidents, medical emergencies, they were unable to give an exam. And we worked it out with Cal Poly's registrar's office, do an incomplete, and they come back and take the exam later. So again, late homework is accepted. Late quizzes I can do, for a few days. If you're going out of town, if you're really sick and you can't take the quiz, then you notify me as soon as possible. We'll make alternative arrangements. And late exams, again, everything is governed by Cal Poly's academic policies. Let's see. Oh, this is important. Again, class requires purchase of an access code. So every student must purchase this access code and register by Thursday. Complete your first homework by Friday. That way I'll know who's going to continue with the class and who's not. Right now, I had to set the deadlines as homework 1 is due on Friday. Again, it's very basic. It's like 4 questions. Shouldn't take you longer than 15 minutes to get done. But I've set it to Friday just because it's the first week. And then there's like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You'd see there's 5 homeworks in one line. But again, I'll shift the due dates depending on how fast or slow we go during the class. But it will show up on your calendar. So there might be some shifting of the due dates. So homeworks 1 through 5, 5 or 6, I believe, have due dates on there, but the rest of them don't. Okay, they are only set to like June of 2024, June of this year. So as we go along this quarter, we'll shift those dates. All right, let's see. Any questions? Yes. That's a good question. I want to say yes, but I'm also governed by the immigration rules. So even if they say it's all right, and like 2 years later, they will come and say, hey, you did not work on this date, it was against the rules, we're going to revoke your visa. So no one knows the answer to that question. They might say it's fine now, we asked, and they say it's fine, but they can change the rules anytime. And so I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It may turn out that I would not much show up to class. We might have a Q&A session or something. I don't know. When is it, by the way? Third week of school. Is it the entire week? Wow. Okay. I didn't even know that. Um, yeah, as I said, I mean, I haven't decided yet, but I'll let you know. Okay. Any other questions? No other questions? All right. Let's see. Yeah, one note. Don't have that. Let's do this. Assuming everybody have heard of Tesla, Nikola Tesla, right? War of the currents, AC versus DC. How much time do we have left? 9:53. All right. Okay. War of the currents was, well, was a war between two competing technologies, DC, which stands for direct current, AC, which stands for alternating current. On one side, we had Thomas Edison. The other side, we had Nikola Tesla. From all accounts, Nikola Tesla was a brilliant, brilliant physicist. Watch The Big Bang Theory, right? There's episodes in there where they talk of how Edison was a fraud and Tesla was, well, he was a genius. None of us lived during those times, so we don't know what is true and what is not. But the accounts that we have from those days, that seems to be the case. Tesla was working in Europe on AC motors, and which is one of the reasons why the electric car company is named after Tesla. A lot of people did a lot of work into developing the electric motor, but Tesla's the one who had like the big breakthroughs. Anyway, so Tesla was recruited by a manager of Edison, and he came over from Europe to America to work in Edison's company. And Edison had the charm, he had the charisma to actually get investors to buy in. You need a lot of money to run, well, I want to say factory, but like an operation like that. Okay. So he had lots of engineers and scientists working for him. Edison was more, I wouldn't say practical versus theoretical. So we do theoretical analysis so we can iron out any kinks in our problem before we begin the solution. So Tesla was like that. He had an amazing mind. He could do calculations in his head, intricate mathematical calculations, and he would solve many of the theoretical problems that actually stumped many of the famous engineers and scientists during his day. And so he would do the work, he would do the theoretical work, perform the calculations. So when it came time to implement to do the practical experiments, his work was much simplified. You've all heard, right? Edison invented so many, he went through so many light bulbs before he actually invented a working one. So there's some truth to that. What it was instead of doing theoretical calculations, he would just try something new. He would change something, try it out. If it didn't work, he would try something else. Whereas Tesla would actually do the theoretical calculations and he would know beforehand that this is not going to work. Kind of makes sense. And so when they first started out, DC, this is way back in the late 1800s. They were both pitching the ideas for electrical power generation. Edison was pitching DC and Tesla was on the side of AC. And well, we all know what is the power that we use today coming out of a power outlets. AC, right? Alternating currents. There's a simple reason for that. AC can be easily stepped up or stepped down to transmit over long distances. So what is the voltage that comes out of our power outlets? 110 to 120 volts in the US. The reason for that is that, well, there was research going on around the world on electrical power distribution. And so 100 was chosen as a nice, round, safe number. Okay, nice round safe number, and they built in like 10% tolerance in it. There are many theories about that too, but this is the one that makes the most sense. And so it came out to be like 110 volts. Now, when you want to send 110 volts or long distances, there's power loss that happens during transmission lines. So what they do is they step up the 110 volts to like 1,000, 10,000 volts. You would ever see like, transmission boxes on campus around town or huge power stations where it says danger, high voltage, do not enter. And that's the reason why. It's tens of thousands of volts. So when I say step up, it's easy to do that with AC. You simply take a transformer, not the kind that Michael Bay makes, but you have these transformers, which you have learned about in physics, which have multiple coils, and a secondary coil, which has more number of turns. There's a lot of physics involved in there, but you step it up and then you send it over long distances. When you send it over long distances, there is some loss, but because of the high voltage, the losses can be minimized. Okay, so it's high voltage and low current. It's the same reason that in Europe and in other parts of the world, the voltages are more than 200 volts. So it's 220, 240 volts. Because for the same amount of power, if you send a higher voltage, the current requirement is much less. Again, we will learn about this as the quarter goes along. Let's see, 9:59. Anyway, this War of the Current became very famous. There's a movie that came out a few years ago called The Current War. I can't remember who was in it. I've seen a little portion of it, but it's very good. What Edison did was he and Tesla got into like a fight, whether it's verbal, physical, who knows. And Tesla left Edison's company or employment shortly after. And from that point on, Edison did all in his power to denigrate Tesla. Edison, again, as I said, had the charisma, he had the contacts, he knew the big, big powerful people. Tesla, not so much. He did get the backing of George Westinghouse. Westinghouse is actually, it's a brand that is still in existence today. Made electrical components and electronic devices. The first power station was set up in Niagara Falls. Has anyone been there and seen that? Close over there. So if you're there somewhere in that part of the country, you might definitely want to go check it out. Anyway, both Edison and Tesla bid on the electrification for the World's Fair that was held in Chicago in the late 1800s. And Tesla's bid came in $100,000 cheaper than Edison's. They managed to power the entire World's Fair. Everybody was impressed because at that time you had either gas lighting or you had short circuits that actually killed people. And so once they saw the safety, the safety implementation, as well as the low power requirements for AC, and they saw how everything was working with just simple transformers, AC kind of won. So it kept getting more and more contracts. DC was proving to be more cumbersome. And so shortly after a few years, DC distribution died out. One last thing I would say is every electronic device and every appliance that we use runs on DC. Every single piece of equipment that we use, whether it's a projector, whether it's this monitor, your smartphones, everything runs on DC. AC is used just for power distribution, but when it comes into our homes, into our workplaces, we have converters which actually take the AC and convert it to DC. All right, so we'll pick up here next class on Wednesday. If you have any questions, again, I'll be in my office. You send me an email and be more than happy to help you out.